Currently, my focus is on birth and death notification and registration, and also the completeness of death registration. So this is where I'm doing research on the three sub-districts we call Upazila in our country. So it's Kaliganj, Kapashia and Savar. Kaliganj is the pilot project Upazila, that where we actually piloted this new model where we are trying to engage the health staffs to do this birth and death notification and registration. Not registration, specifically notification part. And then we in my research, I am also taking data for these two Upazila, Kapashia, Kaliganj, and also a non-intervention Upazila, where just to compare how this Kaliganj model is doing or not. And my two colleagues coming from Bangladesh, they are also doing from the research on verbal autopsy and MCCOD. In our country, there is a policy that you have to register the birth and death within the 45 days of that occurrence. So earlier it was not happening over there. So like in our country, within 45 days, it is only 3% birth was registered. But it shoot up to 85% when the child becomes 5, when they need to enter into the primary education. So that way, this notification actually helps in this increasing of this registration, earlier registration of this birth and also death registration. First of all, we are not giving any cash or financial, any sort of incentives over there. We try to motivate them, and the good thing was that in 2014 there was a circular by the Ministry of Home and Health and Family Welfare that the health staff should be engaged and should notify the birth and death over there. But it was not happening. Even in the rule of the Birth Registration Act, it also says that these health staff should be notifying birth and death because they are the person who knows this birth and death earlier, anyone than earlier. So they should do that, but they were not doing it. So what we are trying to do over there is through this pilot is that we are trying to motivate them through showing why this is important, birth registration and death registration, and it's not an kind of a extra burden to their work because they actually visit the households in every 28 days. It's their normal duty because to provide the health services, different health services and family planning services. So when a child is born, they are going to get collect data of this child, his name, birth, death, and everything to get prepare for this vaccination. We call this API, Extended Program on Immunization. So they are actually doing that. The same data is actually being helped in the birth registration. So they are doing the same thing. So that is why we are trying to motivate them, and it's actually working over there. This pilot actually created this process, and now we are trying to replicate in other we have actually increased this pilot in other 12 sub-districts. We're trying to see how this system can be actually institutionalized. I can say that in our country, notification, unless the parents are going over there, otherwise in other upazilas for birth registration, it's almost 85%. Notification of birth has been increased from 0 to 85%. So it's a huge thing within the 45 days. Registration in Kaliganj, I have seen data shows that it was only 0.7% within 45 days. Now it's almost 18%. So it's getting huge. So I'm also showing you the gap between the notification 85% to 18%. So there's a gap. So this is where we have to work further. But this gap is not huge in terms of actually death notification because death notification and death registration is a precondition for verbal autopsy. So you cannot do this verbal autopsy without this death registration. So there is not a huge gap, but in birth it's a huge gap. So it means that for birth registration we have to come up with some ideas or some policies where this gap is reduced systematically.